Two cousins, same trade, same Hialeah block, same abuela. One charges $28 an hour and feels guilty about it. The other charges $8,000 per project and sleeps fine. Same skill, same hands, same last name carved on the side of the truck. The gap between them is not effort. It is not luck. It is not even time. The gap between them is one word, and that word was given to them by somebody who loved them. That word is humilde. If your abuela taught you to be humble with money, this video is for you, and it's going to hurt before it helps, because humilde was never supposed to mean small. It was supposed to mean grounded. But somewhere between abuela's kitchen and your invoice, the word got swapped. Now you charge what feels respectful instead of what the market is willing to pay. You undercut your own number before the customer even asks. Today we open a 60-year-old book that nobody in our community ever assigned us, and we strip 3 moves out of it that fix this exact problem. By the end of this video, your price changes. Your partner, your cousin, your kid, they all hear it. But wait, before we get to the moves, I need you to see why one cousin stayed where he was and the other one got out. Because here's the thing, and the answer is not what you think. The book is called The Magic of Thinking Big. The author is David J. Schwartz, a marketing professor who wrote it in 1959, back when the word manifestation had not been ruined yet, back when self-help books still gave you homework instead of vibes. Schwartz spent 35 years studying operators who out-earned smarter, more credentialed peers. He kept finding the same pattern. The winners did not have higher IQs. They did not have richer parents. They did not work longer hours. They had bigger targets, and they had built the self-image to match. That last part is where most Latino operators lose the money. We were taught to keep the self-image small so we would never feel arrogant. So we set targets that match the small self. And the targets we set are the targets we hit. So watch what happens next. We are going to walk through 3 moves from this book. They stack on top of the 6 decisions from video 2, the 5 people skills from video 3, and the strategic thinking moves from video 4. They cost $0. They take less than a week to install, and they change the number on your invoice by Monday. Move 1. Tu número está en la cabeza, no en el mercado. Move 2. El que se ve grande, cobra grande. Move 3. Piensa en metas, no en obstáculos. Here's where it gets good. Schwartz opens the book with the principle that runs everything else. He calls it think big-itis versus think small-itis. The disease he is describing is not laziness, it is precision. The small thinker knows exactly what they are worth. They just measured themselves with the wrong ruler. Here is how this hits Latino operators in the United States specifically. When you set your price, your brain does not pull a number from the market. It pulls a number from the last person who paid you growing up. For most of us, that person was a tia who paid $40 for a job that should have cost $300, or a primo who paid in pernil, or a vecino who said, "Ay mijo, do me a favor." That number, the favor number, got encoded as what I am worth. Every estimate you write for the rest of your life starts from that number, then flexes up nervously. Schwartz's tactic, he calls it measure yourself by what you can do, not by what others have paid you to do. Translation for an operator: stop pricing your skill, start pricing the customer's outcome. Here is the move, concrete, you do tomorrow morning. Pull your last 10 invoices, write next to each one what the customer actually got, not your hours, not your materials, the outcome. Roof stopped leaking before hurricane season. A mother-in-law moved into a house that was not flooded. Restaurant passed inspection on the first try. Now, ask yourself, if you walked into a Floridian's home and offered to guarantee that outcome, what would they pay? Not what your tia paid. What a stranger with money would pay. The number you write down is the new floor, not the ceiling, the floor. When Mateo, who runs a 4-truck concrete crew out of St. Pete did this exercise on his own operation. Same skill he had been doing for 9 years, same trucks, same crew. His average ticket went from $2,800 to $7,200 in 6 weeks. He fired one client who refused the new price. He picked up 3 who said yes the same day. But here's where it gets ugly. The hardest part of this move is not the customer. The customer says yes faster than you think. The hardest part is your own people. Your mother is going to ask why you are charging so much. Your cousin is going to call you greedy. Your partner is going to get nervous the first time somebody walks away. As my abuela says, el que mucho abarca, poco aprieta. The one who reaches for too much grabs nothing. But in this case, the inverse is also true. The one who reaches for too little never grabs anything either. You are not greedy. You are correcting a price that was set by a tia who was not a market. That is move 1. And here's where it gets sharper. Schwartz spends a whole chapter on something he calls managing your environment. The principle, your self-image is not built in your head. It is built by the rooms you sit in, the people you eat with, and the 10 objects within arm's reach when you make decisions. Latino operators in this country tend to run the entire operation out of a setup that screams, this is temporary, the phone is cracked, the truck has a magnet sign instead of a wrap, and the estimate is written on a notepad from the bank. The website is a Facebook page from 2017. None of those choices are about money. They are about identity. We were taught not to look like we are showing off. So we underdecorate the operation, and the operation undercharges to match. Schwartz's tactic, he calls it go first class in the things that touch your decisions, not in everything. In the 5 touch points where the customer makes a judgment about what you are worth. So here's the move concrete with a number, 5 environment swaps. Each one costs less than $300. Each one moves the number on your invoice up by more than what you spent. 1, truck wrap or door magnets that match your logo. 2, 50 at a Tampa shop, 2 days. The customer sees a real company before they see your face. 2, a real estimate template, not the back of an envelope. PDF, your logo, the customer's name printed at the top. Free in Google Docs. The estimate is the first thing that closes the deal. 3, a polo shirt with your logo, embroidered, not screen printed, $45. You wear it on every estimate visit. Customers price the shirt before they price the work. 4, a real phone, not the cracked one, a clean phone, charged with the company's voicemail set up in your voice, $90 used. Calls get answered, voicemails get returned within the same day. 5, the corner of one room, lit with one lamp, where every estimate gets written. No TV, no kids, no background noise. One chair, one notepad, one phone. The brain prices differently at a desk than on a couch. That's roughly $600 total, less than what most of us spend on a single Saturday at the carniceria for a fiesta. The first month after these 5 swaps, Andres in Hialeah moved his average estimate from $4,200 to $9,600. Same skill, same crew, different room, but here's where it gets harder. The deeper move is not the swaps, it is what the swaps do to you. Schwartz's argument is that the environment is constantly whispering at your nervous system. Cracked phone whispers, you are temporary. Wrapped truck whispers, you are a company. Embroidered polo whispers, you are a professional. And your body believes it. Your price follows your nervous system, not your spreadsheet. That is move 2. But before we get to move 3, I need you to sit with something uncomfortable. You think the humility you were taught was protecting you. Pause on that, because here's the thing. The next sentence is the whole video. It was protecting somebody. It just was not you. Like the humility was protecting the people who needed you to stay where you were, the tia who wanted a discount, the vecino who wanted a favor, the boss who wanted a worker who would not ask for the raise. They all needed you small. They all called it humilde because that word does not let you fight back. You can love the people who taught you humilde and still refuse to let it set your price. Both can be true. Both have to be true if you are going to break the math your family has been stuck in for 3 generations. That is the pivot. Now move 3. The third Schwartz move is the one that separates the operators who break out from the operators who keep running in place. He calls it thinking like a leader. The principle is not about leading other people. It is about leading your own future self. Schwartz frames it with a question. He calls it the 5-year question. 5 years from today, where is the version of you that did everything right standing? Not what is he doing? Where is he standing? What does the room look like? What is on his desk? Who is in the next room? The small thinker cannot answer that question because he is too busy running from this week's obstacles to picture next decade's outcome. Here's the tactic, concrete. Every Sunday, 15 minutes, you write 3 lines. Line 1, where the 5-year version of me is standing. Line 2, what he did this week to get 1 foot closer. Line 3, the single biggest obstacle I confused for the destination this week. That is the whole exercise. 15 minutes, no app, no coach, no subscription. What this does, mechanically, Schwartz argues, is it forces your brain to spend at least 1 moment per week orienting toward the goal instead of the obstacle. Most operators spend 0. Their entire mental real estate is rented out to this week's emergencies. The 5-year version inside them never gets a turn at the desk. The first time Andres in Hialeah did this exercise, he wrote that the 5-year version of him owned 3 crews and a yard. Within 14 months, he had 2 crews and was leasing a yard, not because he set a goal, because he stopped letting the obstacle of this month's payroll rent the whole desk. And here's where it gets good, but here's where it gets sharp. The obstacle does not go away when you do this. The bills still come. The truck still breaks. La Doña still calls at 9 p.m. wanting a discount. But then what changes is which one of those events gets to define the week. The obstacle becomes a Tuesday problem instead of the whole frame. That is move 3. So here's what you walked away with. 3 moves. Reprice from outcome, not hours. Run the 5 environment swaps. Write the 3 Sunday lines. You install all 3 by next weekend. Your number changes within 60 days. Your nervous system follows by 90, and your wealth math compounds from there. That is the lesson. That is the video. But wait, now here's the part Schwartz buries in chapter 12. The 3 moves work. They change your number. They change your environment. They change your week. But none of them touch the actual reason Humilde got installed in the first place. Humilde was not given to you to keep you small. It was given to you to keep you safe in a country, in a class, in a family where being seen big could get you hurt. That was real. That was real for the people who taught it to you. You are not in that country anymore. You are not in that class anymore. The threat that made Humilde a survival strategy is not the threat in front of you anymore. The most humble thing you can do in 2026 in this country with the skill you already have is charge the full number. Take care of the people who taught you the lesson. Build the math that ends the cycle. That is Humilde now. The old definition was a debt. The new definition is the payment. 3 moves, repricing, environment, Sunday lines. Pick one tonight. Start it before Monday. The number changes by the next invoice. If this video helped you out, hit the like button and subscribe so the next one finds you. Click that notification bell. That's how you catch every new Gordo Worldwide video the day it drops. And if you want to keep building, watch this one next. This is Gordo. Apply one thing this week. We'll be back next week.